How does empathy influence creative problem solving? The high-level takeaway is in the title. And in this 5-minute flash talk, I'll introduce you to our experiment for evaluating the interaction between empathy, emotions, and creative problem solving. Before I begin, I want to mention that this is joint work with my awesome colleagues in the Affective Computing group, Craig Ferguson, Rob Lewis, and Rosalind Picard. So first, I'll share a bit of background on computational empathy. Traditionally, we think of empathy from our own egocentric perspective as feeling what someone else is feeling. I'll be talking about computational empathy, the appearance of empathy by a virtual agent via affective mimicry and perspective taking. Affective computing researchers have actually been looking into this for a while, and in 2004, researchers demonstrated with a longitudinal study that people paired with a caring agent felt significantly more cared for than people in a control group paired with an agent that did not demonstrate care. Similarly, and recently, in 2021, researchers showed that a virtual agent designed to be a friendly face in a crowd actually help, and a friendly face in a crowd and designed to help reduce public speaking anxiety indeed led to significant reductions in self-reported anxiety relative to people in a control group. Now, the question that my co-authors and I were curious about is, can computational empathy improve performance on objective metrics? Based on research in emotions and decision-making, we were particularly interested in evaluating how computational empathy can increase performance on creative tasks. So now I want to share some background on how psychologists have attempted to measure creativity. And I'll say it's very hard to measure creativity. But psychologists have come up with tasks that involve convergent and divergent thinking, and then typically evaluate people's ability to solve the task. Instead of traditional tasks or tests, we use Wordle, this year's viral sensation word guessing game, as a creative problem-solving task. It's similar to other tasks where people have to bring together disparate material in a useful but unaccustomed way. I use the air quotes because that's the quote from the last slide. Wordle is particularly nice because it's fun, relatively quick to play, it's well-confined action space, and maybe last is plain Wordle produces lots of data. We hosted our own version of Wordle as a website with one slight change. There's a virtual character at the top of the game who can make expressions and give feedback. And so with our hosted Wordle experiment, we designed a 2x2 randomization scheme to study how emotions and computational empathy influence performance. We invited just over 1,000 participants to the website and randomly assigned people to an anger and control intervention and an empathetic agent and control agent intervention. In the anger intervention, we asked, what are the 3 to 5 things that fill you with anger? And then we asked a follow-up where we asked people to dig into this. In the control intervention, we asked the same kind of thing, but instead said, what are 3 to 5 things that you did yesterday? And once again, followed up a little deeper. Now, the empathetic or empathic virtual agent is a little complicated, and I highly suggest you check out the paper to see how we create a detailed rule set for empathic responses. Essentially, what we did is we paired relevant contexts with perspective-taking measures and dynamic expressions. For example, if you have fewer than 6 possible words remaining, the well-dressed bear waves and says, "You're so close, you got this." Now, by running this experiment on Wordle, we can look at objective performance metrics like whether participants won, how many guesses they took to win, or how many guesses they took when playing. Or we can also ask, how much entropy reduction happened with each guess. And entropy reduction here refers to how good a guess is by how many possible words a guess leaves remaining. Now, what is shown on this slide is a regression table showing the average treatment effects on 3 different metrics. And what we find is assignment to the anger condition leads people to do worse. Assignment to empathy condition with the control condition doesn't actually lead to better or worse performance. But assignment to empathy does counteract the negative effects of anger. Now, here's another figure from the paper looking at entropy reduction by guess order. You can find more details about the results in the paper and learn more about how it's connected to both the affective computing research literature and the emotions and decision-making literature by checking out the paper on arXiv or in the ACII proceedings. And I want to say thank you for your attention, and feel free to contact me on email or social media.